If you're looking for a home cardio machine that actually feels like a reliable workout partner, something you can hop onto, get a solid sweat session, and not spend half your life fussing with knobs or wobbling on a cheap frame, then you've probably already scrolled past a dozen options and felt that knot in your stomach about making the right call. The fear of dropping a few $100s on a piece of equipment that ends up being noisy, hard to store, or just plain uncomfortable is real, especially when you compare the glossy ads to the cramped reality of a living room or garage. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And I'm going to walk through why the Concept2 RowErg might be the pragmatic choice that actually fits into daily life, and where it might still leave you wishing for something else. First off, the biggest hesitation most people have with a rowing machine isn't the price, it's the question of whether it will truly become part of your routine. Rowing is a full-body, low-impact workout, which sounds perfect on paper, but the real test is the ergonomics of the seat, the feel of the handle, and how easy it is to get in and out when you're already tired from work. The RowErg uses a 14-inch seat that sits at a height most users find natural, and the footrests are adjustable enough that you don't have to force your ankles into an awkward angle. I've seen a lot of machines where the seat is either too low, making the stroke feel cramped, or too high, turning the motion into a hip hinge exercise that's hard on the lower back. The RowErg seat height hits a sweet spot for a broad range of users, from tall cyclists to shorter office workers, and the ergonomic handle mimics the grip you'd get on an actual rowing shell, which translates into a more authentic feel once you get past the first few rows. One of the practical strengths that often gets buried under marketing jargon is the integrated device holder. It's not just a flimsy clip. It's a solid cradle that fits most smartphones and tablets, and it locks in place so you can run a training app, stream a show, or follow a coach without having to prop a device on a nearby table. Over 40 rowing-specific apps are compatible, so you can pick a program that matches your goals, whether you're chasing a 2,000 meter time trial or just wanting a steady 30-minute calorie burn. In real life, that means you can actually track your progress without having to write it down later, and the Bluetooth and ANT Plus connectivity of the Performance Monitor 5, PM5, does the heavy lifting by automatically logging each row to your favorite fitness platform. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs that only show up after the box is opened. The RowErg's flywheel design is praised for minimizing noise, and in a typical apartment setting, the whir of the flywheel is more of a soft whoosh than a gym-level clank. However, the machine does rely on 2-cell batteries for the monitor, which means you have to keep an eye on that little battery icon if you're using the monitor for long sessions. It's not a deal breaker, but if you plan on marathon training sessions where you might be on the machine for an hour and a half straight, you'll want to have fresh batteries handy. Also, the overall footprint, about 9 feet by 4 feet when fully assembled, is something to factor in if your space is already tight. The good news is the RowErg separates into 2 pieces for storage and comes with caster wheels, so you can roll it into a corner or even into a garage when you're not using it. It's not a fold-up machine that shrinks to a coffee table size, but the 2-piece split is manageable for most home gyms. Who should consider buying this? If you're someone who values data-driven workouts, you'll appreciate the PM5's ability to give you split times, stroke rate, and power output that you can compare week over week. Athletes training for rowing competitions, triathletes looking for a low-impact cross-train, or anyone who simply wants a trustworthy cardio option that doesn't jam the knees will find the RowErg's consistent resistance, controlled by adjustable air pressure, very responsive. The 500-pound user capacity also means that it won't feel wobbly under a heavier rider, which is a comfort factor that many cheaper models overlook. In addition, the 5-year frame warranty adds a layer of confidence if you're planning to keep the machine for several years. Conversely, if your primary goal is to squeeze a cardio machine into a studio apartment and you can't spare a dedicated corner, you might want to look elsewhere. The RowErg's size and the need for a small amount of clearance behind the footrests to accommodate the full stroke could become a nuisance in a tight hallway. Likewise, if you're after a flashy, high-tech interface with touchscreen controls, customizable lighting, or built-in speakers, the RowErg keeps things intentionally straightforward: just the monitor and the